Hello, everyone. We're having a great conversation, an important one, with Nick Arquette, the founder and CEO of Walk with Sally. This is an organization that helps children who have lost their parents to cancer, or whose parents have cancer or have had cancer, and all of the difficulties that come with that for the children. Nick himself had a mother that went through this experience. So stick around. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
This episode is made possible via the support of our sponsors, including Johnson & Johnson's Caring Crowd. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, your story starts with tragedy, and so I want to understand how that impacted you. But when you were a teenager, your mother had cancer and ultimately succumbed. Tell us about how that experience affected you.
Yeah. My story, even though it sounds unique, throughout the country is not unique. More than a quarter of the people that are diagnosed are parents. My mother, Sally, shares a story of a lot of families, moms, dads, even siblings that find a cancer diagnosis and ultimately wonder for themselves, how am I going to survive the treatment, the trauma, but also how am I going to raise my children? I was one of those unfortunate victims of the journey of cancer. My mom finding breast cancer at a young age. I was 11 when she sat me down on her bed and really told my brother Alex and I, this is what's going on. She was a single mom, and she really fought to create normalcy, but at the same time really let us know what was happening. And we walked through that journey with her. Unfortunately, cancer changes everything, and slowly her health, the radiation, the chemotherapy, the mastectomies, hysterectomies, all of these things at such a young age have an impact. And to the point where I had to move away, live with family members I didn't know very well, my father, who I had not seen that often. And at 16, got the call to come to her bedside because she had passed. And I was there with her when she died.
That is such a profoundly sad story. How did that affect you? How did you feel about all of that as it was happening?
Well, I think the first thought is, how do you save your mom? Second or third or fourth thoughts after that are sort of, are we okay? Is this going to get worse? How can I change things? How can I fix things? I think also, to be honest with you, there was a part of me that wanted to be a normal kid. I was already faced with the differences of just peer pressure of financial, socioeconomic differences, the fact that my mom was a single mom. So that was already hard. If you throw cancer on top of it, I remember feeling awfully guilty when she would try to take me to soccer practice and her hair was gone and she would have a scarf. And I can remember thinking, I wish she wasn't here, and yet feeling incredibly guilty.
Yeah. Well, it is, I am sure, just a traumatic experience for a youngster to go through that. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But I think that experience was foundational for your organization, Walk with Sally. What have you applied in terms of mission and objectives for Walk with Sally from your own experience?
Great question. I mean, really what it really boiled down to as an entrepreneur is I really looked at how do I change something that was negative into a positive. And what our mission is to bring hope back into children's life through this mentoring concept, which is bringing children, matching them with a mentor, an adult who's gone through a similar experience, and together they can create a future. And it's somebody that gets it. And really our journey is to make sure that no child goes through the cancer experience alone. it may sound funny to you, Devin, but it was my goal originally is just to make this experience of Walk with Sally, the program, fun. There's too many dark days. There's too many times that a child is sitting at home on a Friday night in 5th grade and longing to get out of the story of cancer or hospice, and just to get out of the house and to have fun with a buddy. It's really that simple. And every child wants to be known, and we want to shine a light back on them.
Yeah. Well, it is just, I can only imagine how difficult it is for a child of a cancer patient to cope with all the stress of knowing mom or dad is not well, and the financial implications of that, and the social implications. So this is incredible work you're doing.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the mentoring program and how that works. How do you match people up, and what do they do?
Really, it's an amazing concept. I mean, we've heard of Big Brother, Big Sister, and there's many other organizations out there. Mentoring has really become a super topic around how do we help children develop and mirror positive role models. And I think that the concept of mentoring really is about matching a 7 to 17-year-old who's been impacted by cancer, a family member or sibling has cancer, and that the experience that we provide is to find those adults who are wanting to give of their time for 1 year, 6 to 8 hours a month, and ultimately give their time in a way that says, hey, I've been through that experience. Let's go through this together. Let's have fun. And we match them. We match them in the home, and we find commonalities. It could be going to the beach for the first time, providing access to museums and other experiences. And I think the other thing I'm really proud of is we created early on an activities day. And so every quarter, the kids get to see each other, almost like a day-long camp. We choose really fun activities, and we bring everybody together. There's everything from meditation to surf lessons to lunch, all of the things that you would expect to bring together for a fun day. And so what you're seeing now is a community of families, mentors, and mentees who are getting to know each other over a long period of time. And lastly, I'd say the biggest joy I've had is watching children now be with us from the age of 7 years old all the way to practically graduating from high school and into college. And so we're extremely proud of the leadership that we're providing, and the future is bright for these kids.
Oh, that's great. Nick, what are you most proud of having accomplished so far?
I think the tenacity to take an idea in a social sector, as an entrepreneur, we always think about money. We think about measurable results, and my measurable results have become so different than what I'm used to in terms of a financial gain, and bringing purpose to people's lives and my own life. I'm most proud of the tenacity, the willingness to not give up in the face of so many obstacles, because I knew that this was a unique idea that needed to be nurtured. It needed to be played out, and I needed to get everybody involved. So I'm very proud of going through any obstacle at the end of the day to help kids, and to bring so many incredible people into the circle that absolutely believe in the mission.
Oh, that's great. What's the most important lesson you've learned from your experience with Walk with Sally?
I'm sorry?
What's the most important lesson you've learned from your experience with this organization?
I think to share your pain and your grief, to get it out, to find other people that are like-minded, to heal from your experience and figure out a way to turn your tragedy into something that is hopeful and positive and that can change other people's lives.
As you think back on your experience, Nick, as you point out, as horrible as it was, there are lots of people who were going through similar things, and they didn't launch an organization like Walk with Sally. Why did you feel so compelled to do that?
I think I ultimately missed my mother in the beginning. I didn't hear her name any longer being spoken. Our families were disconnected in different parts of the country. And not hearing her name, that name Sally, it felt sad that she no longer was in people's memories. And I think every child that loses a parent gets afraid of losing the sound of their voice or losing the sound or how they looked. And I think that was probably the beginning, as sort of a tribute to her. But really what it became was seeing adults and kids healing from a very simple idea early on and saying, this really works, that we ultimately are human beings that want to be connected and we want to feel like someone's hearing us. And that's the gold in this whole mission.
Oh, fantastic. It's a powerful, powerful lesson. So Nick, what is your superpower?
I think I talked about it earlier, but it's never giving up. In the face of fear, in the face of obstacles that seem insurmountable, that they can't be, you can't overcome them. I think it's just never giving up. And I think ultimately it's the ability to share why it's important, what my vision is, and be able to share with anybody that would listen in a way that they would be moved and that they would be inspired to take action.
That's excellent. Well, Nick, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, and I'm grateful for your inspiring work. Before you go, would you take just a minute and tell us how people can learn more about Walk with Sally and how they can connect with you personally?
Excellent. Well, I think the best way for anybody to start learning about the program and seeing the stories and sharing the ideas, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or on our website, walkwithsally.org, and info@walkwithsally.org are great ways to start. And again, going on Facebook and seeing the stories and watching the videos on Instagram, Walk with Sally. Walk with Sally is a great way for families and children to heal through their cancer experience.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Nick, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. And thank you for the great and inspiring work you're doing with Walk with Sally. We wish you every success in the great work that you're doing.
Well, thank you. And thank you for sharing. And it gives us an opportunity to really give back to the world. Thank you.
All righty. Let's do some good.
At Caring Crowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on Caring Crowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
Thank you for listening. Devin Thorpe's mission is to end extreme poverty, improve global health, and mitigate climate change before 2045 by finding and sharing the stories of those who are doing the most good. You can join with other listeners to accelerate Devin's mission by visiting helpdevin.org right now.